Dragon Ball Shin Budokai is one of the most slept-on games that was released on the PSP. Now, I bet most of you only know about the first 3 console installments of the Budokai series, but there are 2 other Budokai titles released on the PSP, and today, I'm going to be talking about Shin Budokai 1. So right off the bat, this game makes a very good impression story-wise. This is like one of the few Dragon Ball games out there that isn't just a repeat of all the Z sagas, which, thank God, because I'm so tired of fighting Raditz over and over and over again. The new story takes place 2 years after the defeat of Kid Buu, which means part of the story is original, but the other part of it is actually a retelling of Fusion Reborn, and because of that, you get to play as the one and only Pikkon. It's really cool to see Pikkon here. As you may or may not know, he isn't a character that is in any of the console trilogy titles. That being said, the same also applies to Janemba. Now on to one of the main reasons why I started writing this video. I want to compare Shin Budokai to the console installment. Now, can we all agree Budokai 1 is rough? Like, it's a pretty rough game, right? The combat isn't quite there, and of course Budokai 2 improved on the gameplay drastically, but it still needed some refinement to say the least. And yes, Budokai 3 clearly is the best gameplay-wise out of the trilogy, but it does have that dumb rock-paper-scissors mechanic known as Dragon Rush. But Shin Budokai 1 and Shin Budokai 2 both don't have any gimmicks to their gameplay. When it comes to the PSP titles, you have the shoulder button, which makes you dash forward. It can also be used to change your combos, which makes the base combat feel like it has a lot more depth. And from that alone, I would say the gameplay here is legit better than the console installments. The controls also feel super tight and responsive, making this game feel less like a portable spin-off and more on par with its console counterparts. It's truly unfortunate that this game is stuck on the PSP, so playing it with friends isn't really easy, and it's not like this game is super accessible nowadays, so chances are most people will not be able to play it unless, emulation or a hacked PSP, but I digress. It's time to talk about the amount of content this game has to offer. So the story mode's length is roughly 4 hours, which is pretty good for a portable fighting game, and the story mode is also longer than the first Budokai game, so that's a plus. There is 18 characters in Shin Budokai, which is less than any of the other console titles, but the selection here is pretty unique, which does help it stand out. The visuals, music, and stage selection this game has to offer is like a mix between Budokai 2 and Budokai 3, and honestly, I'm fine with that. The reused content that's brought back is changed just enough to make this game still stand out. Despite being a somewhat brief video, if it wasn't obvious enough, I definitely recommend checking this game out. If you like any of the other Budokai games on console, you'll definitely love this one. Anyway, time to go play some Shin Budokai 2. Pretty sure I have a bit more to say about that game, but only time will tell. Budokai, Bodokai, Bodokai, Baduk, what the fuck?